The time of the summer queens is past. The time of the star queens has not yet come. Against the coming churn storm, there can only be a storm queen. And yet, they come with technology and terror, with shields and armor, blades and bows, magic arcane and unholy, with the power of lightning and even of stars to take my dragon. When the churn swallows their homes, then they will kneel!
Alright, welcome back. This time we're going to be covering some brand new news as far as a brand new hero coming to the Sovereign Rise very, very soon. Yes, we no longer say the Halcyon Fold. That is old school. Now we say the Sovereign Rise. His name has been confirmed as Tony. As you can see in the background, that is him fighting Churnwalker. I'm sure you guys saw this little, scene in the beginning video of this video where it showed the rise of the Storm Queen. And this was one of the scenes where you're like, wait, who's fighting Churnwalker there? Is that Ardan? Unless he grew elf ears and lost his second arm, that can't be Ardan. Well, you're correct. That is not Ardan. This is the brand new hero, Tony, which, based on the artwork, I'm assuming he has some kind of connection to Ardan, whether maybe indirectly, maybe he had some reconstructive surgery with the same doctor, and that was the extent of relation to Ardan. Is that they had the same doctor, same scientist, whatever you want to say it is. And so maybe he has similar abilities to Ardan. I'm kind of going with that. I only know one of the abilities, but I cannot say anything. Otherwise, SCMC will give me a fat spanking and probably get me in trouble. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about what I think his other abilities are, while trying my hardest not to hint at what he actually does for one of his abilities. I'm trying to tap dance around this, but it's really, really hard. But anyways, so I think for one, based on this art piece right here, he has something similar to Blood for Blood, Ardan's punch. It has to be. I mean, that's the Superman punch that he's lunging forward like Ardan does for Blood. So maybe he has a similar ability there. Whether it's, I don't know, maybe it's just a damaging ability where he also has a gap closer, very similar to Blood for Blood. Or maybe this is something where it's kind of like the talent of Ardan's for Blood, where you can actually knock people around with a punch. Maybe this guy does that innately without talents. So that would be interesting. I'm assuming he's probably more of a brawler-oriented version of Ardan. I wouldn't assume that they would make another character with similar traits the same role. I think they would take the same traits but have a unique twist to them, making him more of a jungle role more than he would have been for Ardan. And so I'm assuming he has, maybe some similar abilities, like I said, Blood for Blood, but maybe the effects are different. Maybe it's a knockback. Maybe it applies a daze or something. I don't know. I'm just kind of speculating here. His other ability, I'm going to assume that maybe it's dealing with the fist again. I mean, he has two fists, so maybe one fist has one ability and the other fist has another ability. And so maybe that second ability is where maybe he does some sort of knock-up. I'm not saying this is fact, I'm just simply saying like this is what I think might be something he does. Maybe he has an actual knock-up. Is there a knock-up in this game? I don't think so. I'm probably 95% sure there's no knock-ups in this game yet. There is a punt from Glaive. I'm trying to think. is there a knock? I don't know. I'm sure you guys are gonna be like, Rumbly, dude, seriously? This hero right here has a knock-up. And I just cannot think of it off the top of my head. But for now, let's just go with, I think this guy might actually have some sort of knock-up ability for his second ability. And whether it's just a straight-up stun, which essentially is not what that's what a knock-up is. It's just another form of a stun. Or maybe it does more than just knock him up. Maybe it applies some sort of debuff, or maybe it applies some sort of after effect daze. I don't know, or maybe some other effects. I don't know. Brainstorm. Feel free to chime in. But anyways, and then the ultimates. I wonder. I'm kind of curious what it could be. Now, again, one of these abilities I'm talking about, I actually know what they are, but I'm just playing off as if I don't, and I'm just speculating what it can do. So one of these abilities are wrong, but I'm not going to tell you which one it is. But anyways, the ultimate, I'm going to assume this one actually does some sort of, maybe like a grappling thing. Maybe like a grapple somebody, or like it, oh no, you know what it could be? Like, what's that called? Where the guy comes running through and he puts his arm out and he slams into them with his arm. Oh god, I can't think of the name. It's like on the tip of my tongue. I'm sure you guys are gonna come up with it right away, especially you WWE fans. But basically, he slams his forearm into them as he's running by. God damn it, I can't think of the name. But anyways, feel free to write that in the comment section. Rumbly, it's called this. But yeah, so that would be kind of cool too. And maybe you can hit multiple targets. And the more targets you hit against each other, there's a greater effect. That would be really, really cool. I would actually really love that. So the way you would play is that you're all about displacement. Maybe this guy is all about displacement with every ability, whether it's the knock-up, whether it's the pushback with his punch, like I'm speculating, or maybe like the ultimate where like I'm saying they're doing like the arm bar. Is that what it's called? The arm bar, where like he just slams into them with his arms, going across multiple targets at a specific line, and so he can hit the maximum amount of targets, doing the max amount of damage, or maybe increasing durations of stun that it applies. That if maybe it does, I don't know if it does. That would be really cool. But yeah, I mean, there we go. That is my speculation as far as his abilities. Again, one of them I actually know that is wrong, completely wrong. One of them, but I'm not going to tell you which one. But you guys can go ahead and guess. But anyways, so there we go. That is that. We do have a couple more images here. We do have one where it's like some more black and white type sketches here. So you can see here we have one with the Storm Queen on the left-hand side. He's kind of just doing like this little action pose that you would see like on a movie poster or something like that. And like the enemy clearly is the Storm Queen. On the right-hand side, it's more of a like he's exploring the dungeon and there's like danger nearby. That's why there's a skull in the background there on the right-hand side. And he's kind of just pushing this pillar to the side in search of the Storm Queen, or in search of the long-lost love that was taken from him. I don't know. But I thought he was, when I heard about Tony for the first time, this is before I knew he was going to be released, I thought he was going to be a dwarf. I really thought that he was going to be the dwarf from the I think there was a couple in the Grumpjaw lore, where there's a dwarf with like a really long beard and long hair, but he's bald on the top, and he does some sort of spells. And I thought it was going to be him, but it looks like this guy is actually a elf. I assume because of the ears, or maybe he is a dwarf, but the dwarfs in this world have elf ears as well. I don't know. But anyways, we have another picture here coming up. Boom. So this one on the left-hand side has a mustache. So that's a little bit different. Maybe this is like the alternate lore of Tony here. Maybe an alternate skin, because it's clearly different than the default skin that you would see in the previous images, which are these ones right here. It's clearly different. This one he has like a jacket, and then he has the gauntlets, nothing over his shoulders. Whereas this one he has like the exhaust pipes and the back pipe around his neck. and that looks completely different. A lot more steampunk, a lot more armored out than he would for his other skins, which again, the default one is also on the right hand side here, where he's, you know, kind of confronting the Storm Queen there. But yeah, maybe he has a connection to Scarf as well, because you can clearly see the little like small dragon here, which I'm assuming is baby Scarf. But yeah, there we go. And again, on the right hand side, he's confronting the Storm Queen once again. She's holding a gem or the vein or whatever that may be, kind of suspended in the air, and he's like surprised, like, whoa, what do you got there? Or I don't know, maybe that's like the long lost person that he was looking for is encased in this gem, and you know, she shrunk in size, of course, to fit in there, but I don't know. There is a crow on his back, so maybe, so I don't know, there's a crow on his back here, so I'm kind of curious if maybe he has abilities around the crow as well. Now that I see that, like, does he have maybe something that is related to where the crow can, maybe his passive has to do with a crow, where like which makes no sense, at least as far as this theme goes. He has these like mechanical gauntlets, and he's like this young elf, and there's this random crow on his back. It just feels weird. It doesn't really match his theme. But if it does in fact have some sort of thing, to some sort of influence over his abilities, I would say the crow might be a passive, and so the crow just kind of flies around him at all times. And then when he gets nearby an enemy, maybe the crow will activate, and then the crow will go ahead and fly towards the enemy and apply a debuff. Maybe something like that. And then if Tony attacks that same target with a certain ability, after affected by the crow, it will do, you know, an amplified effect. Maybe that's what it is. And the crow's passive has, you know, X amount of a cooldown, so it only can happen every 8 to 10 seconds. Maybe something like that. But the effect is substantial. Like his punch, instead of doing normal damage, it does 50% more damage if affected by the crow passive. That would be kind of cool. Again, just speculation. I actually didn't really know he had any kind of association with the crow, but this picture's starting to show otherwise. I don't think it's in anything else either, though. Like, I don't see... Actually, I do. I do see crows. But when I see the crow on the other pictures, like, it looks like it's associated with the Storm Queen. So, like, anything dark... so like the Storm Queen in this one, she's like the dark counterpiece to the hero here, Tony, and the crows are circling around her. And then in the picture to the right, there's the crows kind of, you know, hovering over this black smoke in the skull. And then again, in this picture, the Storm Queen is there, and the crow is on his back, as if it's maybe something he's not aware that is actually there. So I don't know if the crow is actually tied in. Like I said, I'm still just seeing this stuff as you guys are. Maybe it has to do with the Storm Queen rather than the actual hero Tony. Maybe the Storm Queen, if she ever comes into play, which I assume at some point they're going to introduce her as a character to play, because they just keep hyping her up throughout the lore. But I'm assuming the crow at this point now that I've analyzed, has to do with the Storm Queen, because the Storm Queen even has feathers as part of her gown there. So that would make more sense, the crow being related to her than being Tony, because Tony's mechanical and he had nothing to do with nature, just crows in general as far as that theme goes. So it'd be kind of weird if he did. But that passive sounds cool though, that I kind of mentioned earlier. Anyways, there you go. There is the hero Tony once again in color form. Looks like he is about to just wreak havoc on this Churnwalker. Churnwalker must have missed his hook there. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video showing off some of the images that were dropped as far as some news on the new hero Tony, which has been confirmed by SCMC. I'm sure we'll get more news about him shortly throughout the week, if not maybe even sooner. And I'll try to cover that as well if you guys really want me to. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. And just to kind of finish off the video, I'll show off that little minute and a half clip again, so you guys can enjoy that on the way out. Thanks for guys watching. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Later.
The time of the summer queens is past. The time of the star queens has not yet come. Against the coming churn storm, there can only be a storm queen. And yet, they come with technology and terror, with shields and armor, blades and bows, magic arcane and unholy, with the power of lightning and even of stars to take my dragon. When the churn swallows their homes, then they will kneel!